It's not actually the best day, though, for him to be doing this because the inflation report was a good one. So we're under 3% for the first time since March 2021.
Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than...
This election, I do strongly believe, is about two very different visions for our nation. And today, by virtually every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world.
Donald Trump's campaign has never been worse off than it is right now. And because of that, Donald Trump is panicking. He is scared. He is unraveling because he knows how badly his campaign is collapsing. And because of that, in this panicked state that Donald Trump is in, he is desperately trying to find some issue that he can latch onto, lie about, and try to save his campaign with. He tried crime. He tried to say that Kamala Harris is soft on crime. Yes, the career prosecutor is soft on crime, but the convicted felon isn't really Donald. So that one didn't work out for him. Obviously, then he moved on to the border and immigration. But because Donald Trump blew up the bipartisan border deal, and even Republicans call him out on it, it's not really working well for Donald Trump. So now he has moved on to the economy. And that is probably the worst decision Donald Trump could have made. Because Donald, you were already president and had the worst economic record of any president in modern history. Historic job loss, historic implosions, historic stock market tanks. Donald, you have already failed at this. We have seen your record. And that is why it's so funny that Donald Trump is kind of going out on the campaign trail, trying to message about the economy while it is booming right now. Because it just doesn't make any sense. It's a bad argument. Donald Trump is attacking President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris because they recovered from the disaster. He caused that not only recovered, but the economy is booming now. And so Donald Trump is going out on the campaign trail. And even worse, he's posting short little videos about the economy, which are just absolutely humiliating, and we're going to get into those in just a second. But before we do, I want to get a little context on this from Jessica Tarlow.
It's not actually the best day, though, for him to be doing this because the inflation report was a good one. So we're under 3% for the first time since March 2021. It's 15 months that we've seen wage growth go over the inflation rate, which is what everyone wants to see. There was a report out that our U.S. Crude oil production is now 13.4 million barrels a day. So we're outpacing 35% ahead of Russia, 38% ahead of Saudi Arabia. And what we're seeing in the surveys about this, like in Michigan, for instance, there was a FT and the Ross School of Business did a poll together of voters there, and they actually rated Kamala Harris as more trustworthy on the economy than Donald Trump.
So Jessica actually laying out some real facts, some real figures, talking about the numbers of the perfectly clear examples of how our economy is booming under the Biden-Harris administration. Again, not just a recovery from the devastation of Donald Trump, but now we are seeing the Biden-Harris boom. And as we expect, Jessica Tarlow, the only person who is ever speaking the truth on the Fox propaganda network, has her facts straight. But someone who doesn't clearly is Donald Trump. And before we get to the ridiculously humiliating video that he posted, I want to check out this clip because it's just so funny.
Most of the job creation has gone to migrants. In fact, I've heard that substantially more than beyond the number of 100%. It's a much higher number than that. But
so obviously we can't trust Donald Trump on the facts and figures of anything. We can't believe what he says when he's trying to talk about raw data because, Donald, I'm not sure if you ever learned this. I know you had someone take your SATs for you, but there isn't a number greater than 100%. The fear-mongering is so clear here, and it's so disingenuous and just frankly dumb from Donald Trump to say that more than 100% of jobs are going to migrants. It's just ridiculous. But what is equally ridiculous, maybe even more so, is this clip that Donald Trump posted on his Truth Social account from his TikTok talking about the economy in just a way that's frankly ironic and humiliating, but let's check it out.
This is the cost of food. This is the cost of your basics. Every single thing is up. Eggs up 48%, cookies up 27%. Look at what's going on. Butter up 31%. And this is just the beginning. It's a disaster.
Donald Trump is so separated from reality that the guy with the gold toilet seat, who is always talking about how much money he has and spends, and his wealth, which I don't believe Donald Trump is a billionaire. I know he's losing a lot of those billions or millions, if he even has them right now, to his lawsuits, which is chef's kiss. Beautiful to see a little bit of accountability in Donald Trump's life, but it's funny to me that someone's trying to talk about the cost of living who's at his golf club. Are you serious? You're at a golf club that you own. You're not just at a golf club, you own it in New Jersey, and you're trying to talk about the cost of living. Like you actually buy groceries. You're not a normal person. Donald, you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth, and you don't know what it's like to live in the real world. And that is also clear from this clip right here.
Did you know that the Kamala Harris price hikes have cost the average family $28,000? That credit card debt is at an all-time high, and that basically the prices of things have never been like this ever before. There's never been anything like it. If you want to bring the prices down, if you want to have a good life, vote for Trump.
I don't think Donald Trump has ever bought groceries in his life to be talking to us, to just be talking to regular people about the cost of groceries while you're on a private plane is the most MAGA mindset, separated from reality cognitive dissonance thing I've ever seen from Donald Trump. You are not relatable. And Donald, you've caused lots of these problems by giving huge tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans and giant corporations, and putting no checks on corporate greed. Something that is central to Kamala Harris's economic message, making sure that corporations are held accountable for their price, scorching. These are things that you don't care about. You want to see your rich friends get richer so you can buy bigger and bigger jets while working. Americans, struggle to afford things that have gotten more expensive. And they haven't gotten more expensive because of President Biden. President Biden and Kamala Harris have worked to check these increases in price, and inflation is going down, as we talked about at the beginning of this video. But it's so crazy to me that Donald Trump thinks that he's seeming relatable on this stuff that's just not true. And that's exactly what Kamala Harris had to say. With this press release, after Donald Trump's press conference, Kamala Harris responded to Donald Trump's press conference saying, at his country club, Donald Trump huffed and puffed his opposition to lowering food costs for middle and working class Americans and prescription drug costs for seniors before pivoting back to his usual lies and delusions. No surprise, Trump does want to defend his agenda that would raise costs for families by $3,900 a year, cut Social Security, and eliminate the Affordable Care Act. Also, so he can give his rich donors tax breaks. The American people cannot trust a word Donald Trump says, but they can trust Vice President Kamala Harris, who has spent her life taking on frauders, cheaters, and criminals like Donald Trump to make our country safer and lower costs for the middle class. That's the message of Kamala Harris. It's a message about making sure we are lowering costs for working Americans, something Donald Trump knows nothing about. And it wasn't just that message being perfectly encapsulated in the response to Donald Trump. Kamala Harris also delivered that message at her rally today in North Carolina. And I want to check that out.
So thank you all. So listen, this election, I do strongly believe, is about two very different visions for our nation. One, ours, focused on the future, and the other focused on the past. We see that contrast clearly in many ways, including when it comes to how we think about the economy. So our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. At that time, we sadly remember the millions of Americans that were out of work. We were facing one of the worst economic crises in modern history. And today, by virtually every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world. We have created 16 million new jobs. We've made historic investments in infrastructure, in chips manufacturing, in clean energy. And new numbers this week alone show that inflation is down under 3%. And as President of the United States, it will be my intention to build on the foundation of this progress.
That's what's so great about this election, is that as much as Donald Trump wants to attack Kamala Harris, we have two records. We have Donald Trump's record of tax breaks for billionaires and giant corporations compared with Kamala Harris's record of going against fighting back against those same corporations that price gouge consumers and make life more difficult for working families. Kamala Harris took on big banks. She took on big corporations. She took on fraudsters like Donald Trump to fight for working people. And when has Donald Trump ever done that in his entire life? I'll let you know, never, never. It is, I want to take a page out of Donald Trump's playbook here. Donald Trump has spent less than 0% of the time in his life helping other people. No, I don't want to do the math jokes. Donald Trump saying that more than 100% of something can be true. We're having a little bit of fun here. But no, Donald Trump has never cared about anyone but himself, and we certainly should not believe him, should not take his word on anything, especially that he knows what he's doing when it comes to the economy. He inherited a booming economy from Barack Obama. He screwed it up, and President Biden and KLA Harris had to fix it. And we're not going to let Donald Trump screw up our economy again, because we're not going back to his presidency. We're moving forward with KLA Harris and Tim Walz. And that's a message I can get behind. And if you can as well, and you want to support this channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that you leave a like on this video. It really goes a long way in supporting what we're doing. And it would mean the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.